Hare Krishna. So Yagyadanishna Prabhu asked me to speak a little bit about Lord Nrsimhadev for your pleasure. So I'll try to say something. I was wondering what to talk about, and then a friend of mine sent me this nice prayer to Lord Nrsimhadev, which is a Bengali song written by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. It's called Prayer to Lord Nrsimhadev from Sri Navadvipa-bhava-taranga. And it's very sweet, as you will see. So forgive me. Today is our Nrsimha Caturdasi. We're a day ahead of you, and it's now 7:39 p.m. So I haven't broken my fast yet, but I'm just about to within the next after an hour or so. So I'm a little weak, but I'm going to try my best to present this song and say a few things about it. So I'll just go stanza by stanza. There are 10. I'm not the greatest singer, so please forgive me. I'll try to do it with devotion if I can't do it with a beautiful voice. Edushta hridaya kama adiri puchaya kutinati pratishdasha satya sadaraya. Translation: perpetually residing within my wicked heart are the 6 enemies headed by lust, as well as duplicity, the desire for recognition, and deceit. So here Bhaktivinoda Thakur is identifying our real enemies. So Lord Nrsimhadev is the deity, the personality of Godhead that we pray to for protection from danger, from different enemies. So Prahlad protected him from his father, the demon who was torturing him. But our greatest enemies are not so much from outside, but from within the heart. And this is what Bhaktivinoda Thakur is revealing here. So he's particularly identifying lust, material desire, as well as duplicity, desire for recognition, and deceit. So these are the things that, even as devotees, we come up against again and again, that we want to be appreciated. We still are attached to material things. And sometimes our dealings are not so straightforward because of, the ego and all these things. So these are all things that block us from advancement in spiritual life. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur is presenting the situation. Of course, this is not the situation for him, but he's speaking as if he is one of us. So the second one. Hridaya Shodhana Ara Krishna Bhasana Nrsimha Charane More Heto Kamana. My prayer at the lotus feet of Sri Nrsimhadev is that he will purify my heart and awaken longing within me for serving Krishna. So this is a very sweet prayer. He wants to have longing to serve Krishna. And we were looking before in the previous verse about the problem is, the enemy is that there's lust and desire for recognition and all these things. So as long as our desires are for material things, then how is that longing for serving Krishna going to awaken? It's just like if you're driving a car and you want to go faster, but you push on the brake. So it's the opposite effect. It's just the opposite. It's the antithesis. Material lust is the antithesis of a mood of loving service to Krishna. So we need to pray to Lord Nrsimhadev to clear out these obstacles. And Lord Nrsimhadev can do it. But we have to do it very sincerely from the heart. And so Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives us the mood here in the next verse. Kandiya Nrsimha Pade Magibo Kakona Nirapade Navadvipe Jugala Bhajana. When will I, crying at the feet of Sri Nrsimhadev, beg him that I may engage in the bhajan of Sri Radha Krishna Yugala in Sri Navadvip Dham, safe from all danger? So this is the mood that we should be longing, and with such an intensity that we're crying with our head on the ground at the feet of Lord Nrsimhadev, and with tears in our eyes begging for this service to Radha and Krishna. So our goal, because Lord Nrsimhadeva is not our Ishtadev, he's not our worshipable deity, but he is a form of the Lord who can help us to progress towards the lotus feet of our Ishtadev, who is Lord Krishna, or specifically Radha Krishna for Gaudiya Vaishnavas. So Lord Nrsimhadev, because he's the Lord, he knows what our situation is. He knows exactly what the anarthas are. He's like an expert doctor. His Grace Pankajangri Prabhu, most of you know him probably from Mayapur. He used to say that Lord Nrsimhadev is a doctor. He's like a surgeon. So he sees the condition of our hearts. He does a diagnosis. He orders. He knows that there needs to be some surgery. Something needs to be removed, like a tumor or some cancerous growth or some foreign object there that's not supposed to be within the heart. And Lord Nrsimhadev very delicately performs the operation and removes those. So he has these razor sharp nails that can just cut through all the different layers of conditioning and false ego and the material subtle identifications, and get rid of these things. So we have to really beg for Lord Nrsimhadev to help us in this way, because on our own we have no power to get free from these unwanted things, all these blockages to our innate desire. The innate desire of the soul is to serve Radha and Krishna. So text 4. Bhaya 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 jara darshana se hari prasanna hoibo kabe more daya kori. When will that Sri Hari, the sight of whom strikes fear into fear itself, become pleased with me and show me his mercy? So Lord is talking about Sri Hari, but that form of Sri Hari that strikes fear into fear itself. So he's talking about Lord Nrsimhadev. And we want Lord Nrsimhadev to drive away our fears. And what are our fears? It goes back to the beginning verse, that the desire for recognition, material desires, desire for material things. So the reason that we can't surrender completely to Krishna, wholeheartedly to Krishna, is because we have these fears. We fear that, if I just totally offer my life to Krishna, that I'll be lacking in some way, or that, I won't be appreciated, or I won't have the material things that I need. I'll be dejected and rejected and neglected, or whatever. We have all these fears. So we need to pray to Lord Nrsimhadev to give us the confidence that faith, when Srila Prabhupada defines faith as complete confidence that simply by serving Krishna, everything in our lives will be absolutely perfect, without any lacking, without anything left to be achieved. So when Lord Nrsimhadev is pleased with us, then he will bestow his mercy. So pleased with us means that we also need to do something to please him. We can't just have the feeling and have the prayer, but we also need to, like Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, he said, don't try to see God, but act in such a way that God will want to see you, that he'll be so pleased with you that he'll appear before you. So we need to act in that way to please Lord Nrsimhadev. And then when he's pleased with us, then he will definitely be more inclined to help us, be more inclined to be obliged to our request. So text 5. Yadyapi bhishana murti dushta jiva prati praladadi Krishna bhakta jane bhadra ati. Although he appears as the embodiment of terror to the wicked, to Prahlad and other devotees of Sri Krishna, he is exceedingly kind and gentle. So although Lord Nrsimhadev strikes fear and fear personified for pure devotees like Prahlad, he's Prahlad's not afraid. He sees him as the kindest, most gentle. He sees him like a big teddy bear who's there, who's cuddling him and patting him on the head, and is very sweet and affectionate. So when we come to this position of Prahlad, then we'll also see Lord Nrsimhadev the same way. Just as, someone who's a good law-abiding citizen, they're not afraid of the police. But a criminal's afraid of the police all the time. They're always running and hiding and keeping a lookout. They don't want to get caught because they know they've done things wrong. So if our life is free from deceit, free from duplicity, we're just honest and straightforward about where we're at and what we're trying to accomplish, and we treat others nicely, then Lord Nrsimhadev will not be fearful to us. He'll appear as our best friend. We'll see him as our best friend, that he's just there to help us. Number 6. Kabe ba prasana haye sakripa bachane nirbhaya koribe mudha akinchane. When, oh when, will he be pleased with me, and speaking words brimming with compassion, make this insignificant fool fearless? So just imagine, we have all these doubts and fears and reservations which make us take shelter of things other than Krishna, which is actually Maya, because there is no thing other than Krishna. Everything is Krishna, because everything is Krishna's energies. But still, we have this separate vision. Bhagavatam says we're like separatists. We see that there's something separate from Krishna, and that is all illusion. It's due to misidentification with the body. So when will Lord Nrsimhadev come along and speak words brimming with compassion? Now just imagine the voice of Lord Nrsimhadev, very compassionate voice. We hear that the voice of Krishna is described as being very deep and resonant, like thunder. So if Krishna's voice is like thunder, then what to speak of Lord Nrsimhadev? It must be very, very powerful. And, the deep voice, the very resonant voice, it's very soothing. It's very grounding. And it's very comforting because there's a like strength behind it. So imagine Lord Nrsimhadev's very deep, resonant voice brimming with compassion, and he speaks to you personally and tells you, don't worry, everything's going to be all right. All you need to do is keep going in your service to Guru and Krishna. And how reassuring that will be, and how that will make all your fears just vanish. Number 7. Swachande boyiso he Basa Shri Gauranga Dhame Jugala Bhajana Hau Rati Hau Name. He will say, so this is what Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying, that Lord Nrsimhadev will say, O dear child, reside here freely in Sri Gauranga's abode. May you remain engaged in the loving service of the divine couple, and may you develop deep attraction for Sri Nam. So what a blessing, straight from the mouth of the Lord. And he's calling you my dear child, like a father, like a loving father, because that's Lord Nrsimhadev's mood. He has a mood of Vatsalya Bhava with Prahlad. And he also has that mood with his devotees. So if we approach him, then he'll see us like that we're like his children, and he's like a loving father. And he's, the blessing here that he's giving is reside here freely in Sri Gauranga's abode. So remember, this is coming from the Navadvipa-bhava-taranga. So this is Lord Nrsimhadev's invitation. Go and live in Sridham Mayapur. Go and live in Navadvip, which is non-different from Vrindavan. The difference is only that it's more merciful. It's Odaryadam. It's the most compassionate place, the most compassionate abode of the most compassionate form of the Lord. And so he's saying, come here and live freely, totally inundated with compassion, and remain always engaged in the loving service of the divine couple. So how sweet that he's like inviting us. The Lord himself is inviting us into these pastimes, which are our eternal pastimes. We all have an eternal constitutional position in relationship with the Lord. And he's saying, come on, don't stay there rotting in the material world, suffering the threefold miseries, suffering the pains of repeated birth and death. Come back to where you belong and be engaged according to your heart's desire in a loving relationship with the Lord. And may you develop deep attraction for the holy names, so that, Krishna's names are none different from himself. So go to the holy Dham, go to Sri Mayapur Dham, and just immerse yourself in chanting the holy names with great feeling and attraction. That attraction for the name is the same as attraction for the Lord. And when we're very attracted to the Lord, then the Lord is also attracted to us. We saw that in one of the 6 characteristics of pure devotional service is Sri Krishna Karshini, that it attracts Krishna, although he's the attractor of Cupid. 8. Mama bhakta kripa bale vigna jabe dura shudha chitte bhajo radha Krishna rasa pura. So Lord Nrsimhadeva is continuing to speak. He says, on the strength of my devotees' mercy, all obstacles are cast far away. With a pure heart, engage in bhajan of Sri Sri Radha and Krishna, which is saturated with rasa. So this is very, we can see how much love Lord Nrsimhadeva has for his devotees, that he's saying that on the strength of my devotees' mercy. So he's saying that he's, because Krishna says the devotees are more merciful than he is. So we're begging for Lord Nrsimhadeva's mercy, but he's thinking that my devotees are more merciful than I am. Therefore, I won't give the blessings on the strength of my own mercy. I'll give blessings to you on the strength of my devotees' mercy, because then surely they'll come true. Surely all obstacles will be cast far away. So the word here for obstacle is vigna. And one of the names of Lord Nrsimhadeva is Vigna Vinasa, which means he's the destroyer. He destroys all obstacles. So he can easily remove all the impediments on our path to pure devotional service, to transcendental loving service to Sri Sri Radha and Krishna, which is saturated with rasa. So this is what we're aiming for. This is our aim, is to achieve this devotional service to Krishna with real love, with real feeling, saturated with taste, with just that sweet nectarian experience with juice, something tasty. So this is what he's saying, that on the strength of my devotees' mercy, this is what I want you to have. And the Lord desires this for us more than we even desire it for ourselves. And the only reason that we're not already there is because of these obstacles. And the obstacles are due to our own attachment. We're actually attached to the obstacles. So we need to really, pray for the devotees' mercy, pray for the Lord's mercy to get rid of these things, to be able to just let go, loosen our grip on these material attachments that are holding us back. Verse 9. E boli kabe mora mastaka upara Sviya Shri Charana Harshe Dorive Ishvara. After having said such, when will that Lord happily place his lotus feet upon my head? So he's imagining this very sweet, loving exchange with Lord Nrsimhadeva, that Lord Nrsimhadeva is speaking to him, my dear child, may all your obstacles be removed. May you attain loving service to Krishna. May you relish the sweet, loving bliss of rasa in those exchanges. And then he's imagining that he places his feet. Well, he already was crying and placing his feet there at the head his head at the feet of Lord Nrsimhadeva, and with his head all the while there bowed down, Lord Nrsimhadeva is speaking these sweet, compassionate words and his deep, powerful voice. And then after giving the blessing, the Lord lifts up his feet and places them on our heads. So we can also put ourselves in the same position that Bhaktivinoda Thakur is longing to be in. This prayer is, like I was saying before, that it's meant for us. We are the ones with the wicked hearts full of lust and duplicity and deceit and desire for recognition. So this is our prayer. We should make this our prayer. That's one of the items of devotional service, is to recite notable prayers that are composed by the Acharyas, and to do so with feeling, with our own personal connection. So now the last verse. Amani yugala preme satvika vikare dharaya litibo ami Shri Nrsimhadeva. At once, in the divine prema of Sri Sri Radha Krishna Yugala, I shall undergo ecstatic transformations, sattvika vikara, and roll about on the ground at the door of Sri Nrsimhadev's temple. So he's praying to the Lord in the temple. He's imagining that he's there in the temple of Lord Nrsimhadev, and he's placing his head at his feet and offering these prayers. And as a result of the Lord's blessings, he's attaining this divine prema. And that prema is causing all kinds of ecstatic transformations in his body and making him roll about on the ground at the door of Nrsimhadev's temple. So this is also very revealing, because he's at Nrsimhadev's temple, but he's rolling on the ground in ecstasy because of love for Sri Sri Radha and Krishna. But so he's experiencing that love for Radha and Krishna as a result of Lord Nrsimhadev's kindness. And so it's out of gratitude for Lord Nrsimhadev that he's rolling on the ground at Lord Nrsimhadev's temple. He's not rolling on the ground at Radha and Krishna's temple. So this is the devotee's gratitude for the Lord. The Lord has been so merciful. He's been so compassionate. He's kindly responded to my tearful, ardent longing, and he's helped me. He's removed those blockages, and now my actual innate love for Krishna is manifesting, and it's all due to his kindness. So Lord Nrsimhadev is he's so merciful that he appeared just to remove obstacles to pure devotional service. That's his whole thing. Prahlad was wanting to serve Krishna with heart and soul, engaging in the 9 processes of devotional service and instructing his classmates to do so. And his father was such an obstacle. His father was putting so many impediments, or at least trying to. Of course, there is no material impediment to pure devotional service, so Prahlad was never really blocked. But because external impediments can't stop us, and Prahlad's heart was completely pure. So we also don't need to worry about external dangers or impediments. The only impediment are these internal things. And so in our classes, we've been talking about, and we'll talk more about, how we start off in Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, and we progress gradually, step by step, to Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti, and then Bhava Bhakti and Prema Bhakti. So we can only access these higher levels of bhakti, or make any advancement at all, even in Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, by the mercy of the Lord and his devotees. So we should always be praying. I was talking about how when we chant the holy names, so this is stated in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, that when we chant the holy names at the stage of Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, it's one experience, it's one thing. It's kind of like a mechanical engagement where we're just using our breath and our vocal cords and our tongue to produce syllables, which are the syllables of the holy names. So it's all good. There's a connection to Krishna, and we're making an effort, but it's not the same as chanting those holy names at the stage of bhava, where the experience is completely spiritual, where the chanting is not created by our material by the facilities, by the faculties of our material body, but it's actually a product of the Lord's own Swarup Shakti, his Samvit and Vladini Shaktis. So we're really trying to get to those higher levels, to that experience which takes place at Bhava Bhakti. But in order to get to that Bhava stage, or in order to even get to the Asakti or Ruchi or even Nishta, we need to go through Anartana Vritti. So Lord Nrsimhadev is kind of the Lord of the Anartana Vritti stage, that he's right there. He's Vignesha. He's the subduer of the impediments, or the remover of the impediments. Bhakti Vigna Vinasana. So on this auspicious day of Lord Nrsimhadev's appearance day, let us all pray to Lord Nrsimhadev and to all of his devotees, headed by Sri Prahlad Maharaj, to be present in our hearts, and to, Lord Nrsimhadev to use his claws, his nails, his sharp nails, to just remove those anarthas, and to do so compassionately, to use some anesthesia, do so compassionately, so that we can continue our service and we can maintain our clear consciousness while we're going through this process of anartana vritti. Because if it's too brutal, it may be disturbing. It may challenge our faith or our perseverance. So we can ask for him to do it in a way that's that we can handle. Of course, generally, because the Lord is merciful, he knows what we can handle. And he knows what's best. So let us just surrender to Lord Nrsimhadev and lay all the cards on the table, and so to speak, don't hold anything back. Just open our hearts to him and cry at his lotus feet with an intense longing to become pure, to become qualified to serve Radha and Krishna. Thank you very much. All glories to Lord Nrsimhadev, all glories to Sri Prahlad Maharaj, and all the devotees. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. And happy Nrsimha Caturdasi. Hare Krishna.